The Engineer Paragon, upon release, was met with mixed reactions. Some were simply happy to see a new Paragon, and some appreciate his design and power, but there was also a loud reaction of disappointment. Some complained that he looked plain, some disapproved of the lack of power and scaling, and some just thought it was plain lazy. I myself am the belief that while the design was just fine, it certainly lacked power and reason to use. I mean, why would you use yet another DPS tank amongst the selection of other DPS tanks? Not to mention that even the normal tier 5 towers can outscale it even at degree 100 with enough buffs. So today, we're answering these problems with a simple, personal overhaul to the current design for the Engineer Paragon. First of all, the way sentries are implemented was kinda lazy in my opinion. Just several sentries that are complete rips of other towers, and their specialness comes from the fact that they make mini sentries, I suppose. Which isn't particularly original. Also, for some reason they made it an ability, I guess. So, to make it make sense, first of all, we're gonna be making the designs more unique and stylized towards the actual function of the sentries. Now introducing the Cold Sentry, the Boom Sentry, and the Plasma Sentry. And we're also going to make the Plasma Sentry auto-aim because micro is cringe. And I mean, to begin with, aren't these supposed to be auto-aim sentries? Literally every other sentry is auto-aim except for this one. It doesn't make sense. Another change is to introduce the Cold Sentry, well, reintroduce it, and give it an effect akin to that of an icicle impale, but without the icicles, and give it a radius, about this big. The Boom Sentry would still shoot rockets ideally, but instead of just being that, it would have a piercing shrapnel effect upon impact, just to give it a bit more pizzazz. Now, onto another lacking feature, that being that the Master Builder has two guns, which I think are supposed to be his arms, and a nail gun that all do the exact same thing. Which to me, that's nonsense. Our idea is to make one gun shooting pinning nails like usual, but the other one could shoot foam, like the middle path, and that foam would likely be the same as in-game, but removes fortification from mobs, as well as, the usual balloons. The nail gun itself, I think, would be targeted separately, something akin to that of Captain Churchill's machine gun, where it basically shoots fast, does a lot less damage and pierce, but the attack speed making up for those lack of stats. And then, the mechanical arm, or at least I think that's what it is for overclocking. Which, to be honest, it would be very nice if this thing didn't just apply to himself, and perhaps could apply in a radius, like many have suggested. And ideally, I'm thinking it would just max it out in one go, or at the very least apply multiple stacks in one go. And of course, being a Paragon, it'd be nice if it could add additional stacks. Instead of the max being 10, it could be 20, or 15, whichever feels more balanced. And of course, being a support Paragon, why not buff other Paragons, maybe up to like 3 or 5, just for balance. A times 20 Paragon would be pretty insane. But now, onto the other lacking aspect of the Paragon. That being the lack of the Balloon Trap. The Balloon Trap is a key upgrade for Engineer, and the fact that it was left out is quite absurd in my opinion, so we obviously need to bring it back. I don't think we can do anything too drastic, of course, but I think it'd be great to make it so that it can at least absorb 1 BAD, regardless of the RBE. And then generally triple the capacities with it, of course scaling per degree, probably up to about 10 times. Not only would this be a pretty powerful addition, it would also just be a nice way to include one of the, tier 5 upgrades that make up the tower.
Like really, I don't know
Why they didn't include this. And that is our idea on how to improve the Engineer Paragon. I hope you enjoyed, and perhaps even liked the suggestions. Tell us what you thought in the comments, and perhaps like the video even. That's pretty cool. And if you'd be so kind, check out the Twitter and Discord server linked in the description for updates, teasers, and honestly, just me being very depressed. And with that said, I shall bid you all farewell. Actually, I take it back. I bid you unfarewell, because I'm evil.